Hey guys, thank you so much for coming to my channel. If you have been here before, thank you for coming back. And if this is your first time, thank you for stopping by. My name is Nicole and I am a Scrum Master. Today's topic, we're just going to talk about how to prepare for a sprint review and a demo meeting. Again, I want to just let you guys know how to prepare for a sprint review and your demo meeting. So again, what really is a sprint review? But before we proceed, guys, if you haven't yet subscribed, just go back and hit the subscribe button. And don't forget to also hit the notification bell. So once I post a new video, you don't want to miss out, okay? So again, a sprint review is one of the Scrum events. So there are 4 Scrum events. You have your sprint planning, your daily stand-up, your sprint review, and your retrospective. So your sprint review actually happened on the last day of the sprint. I do have a video ready regarding how to facilitate a sprint review. If you haven't watched that video, I highly recommend you to go back and watch that video. But today we're just going to talk about how to prepare for the sprint review meeting. So a sprint review, like I said, is one of the Scrum events, right? It happens on the last day of the sprint. So for you to prepare for the sprint review, the first thing you want to do is you want to make sure that obviously you schedule the meeting. Once you schedule your sprint review, make sure that you schedule it to reoccur. So schedule it to be a series, right? So that way you don't forget if you have a sprint review coming up, you want to make sure that there's already a meeting on the calendar. However, if you haven't scheduled a meeting yet, like if you haven't scheduled like a series for it to reoccur every 2 weeks, just make sure that you have that meeting on the calendar. And it should happen on the last day of the spring. If you're running a 2-week sprint, so it should happen every other week. Okay. So the participants, the people that you should have in your sprint review are your obviously the scrum master, the product owner, your entire development team members, right? Like your developers and your QAs. If you do have a project manager on that project, make sure that you invite the project manager as well. And obviously the key stakeholders, right? The stakeholders that need to be part of that meeting. And obviously, if you have like a subject matter expert, you want to make sure that you include all those people in your sprint review meeting. It's really, really important, especially if your team have something that they're going to be demoing during that meeting. I highly recommend you ask your product owner if you're not aware of the key participants, who are the people from the business that need to be in that meeting. You want to make sure that you include them in that meeting because if your team is going to be showcasing their work, if they're going to be demoing all the deliverables, you want to make sure you have the key people in the meeting that are going to be giving you guys feedback once your team are done demoing. So just make sure that you invite all the participants that need to be in that meeting. Um, so once you already schedule your meeting, please actually, while you're scheduling a meeting, make sure you have your agenda listed in the meeting. Because remember, your stakeholders they probably never worked in a Scrum environment or have never um, had a Scrum team before. So make sure that when you schedule the meeting, you include the agenda. It's important for them to know the purpose of the meeting. Always include agenda, even if it's not a sprint review meeting, any other event, any other meeting that you're scheduling with your team, with the business, just always make sure that you include some type of an agenda so people understand why they come into that meeting. What is the purpose of that meeting? So always make sure that you include that. Once you're done sending out all your invites with the participants that need to be there, the next thing that you want to do, you want to make sure that you confirm the people that are supposed to be there. Make sure that they've accepted that meeting invite. If you check if it's getting closer to your sprint review and you check the invite that you sent out and you realize that there are a lot of people from the business or the key participants have not yet accepted that meeting, or even your developers, the ones that you really need them to be in the meeting, obviously just make sure that you check the invite and see who has accepted and who has not yet accepted. If you have anyone that has not yet accepted that invite that really needs to be in that meeting, I highly recommend you to send them an email or just ping them on Microsoft Teams, whatever tool you guys are using. If you guys are using Zoom or Microsoft Teams, just make sure that you ping them and just ask them if they're going to be able to make it to that meeting. It's really important because your developers they have worked really hard. They have worked really hard the entire sprint. and they have things that they want to showcase to the business, right? If they have anything that's demoable, that needs to be demo, we want them to demo that, and we want the participant, the people that need to see it, to be in that meeting. Is really, really important, because if they're not in that meeting, you might end up have to cancel that meeting and reschedule it, because if you guys do the demo and you don't have the key participants in that meeting, it really doesn't make sense, because when it gets time for you guys to go into production, you guys didn't get that feedback when you guys did the demo. So you don't know if your team delivered the work well, or if they didn't, or if they missed out anything. That's why it's important for you to make sure that the key participants are in the meeting, and they have accepted, and they said they're going to be coming to that meeting. So don't forget, if they have not yet accepted the meeting, reach out to them. You can send them an email, or just ping them on Teams and say, hey, we have a sprint review coming up in 2 days or so. I just realized that you have not yet accepted the invite. I want to make sure that you are going to be part of the meeting. You're going to be there. Obviously, um, they're going to go ahead at that time, at that point, and accept the invite. If they can't make it to the meeting for whatever reason, if they have a conflict, they're going to definitely tell you, right? They're going to message you back and tell you to either reschedule the meeting, or they're going to be in the meeting. So it's really important for you to make sure that the key participants have accepted the meeting invite. So that's just you checking to confirm and making sure that they have accepted the invite and they are going to be there. The next thing that you want to do, your participants have already accepted the invite. Obviously, you've already sent out your invitation. You included your agenda and the invite when you were sending them out. The next thing you want to do is you need to work. I don't know if you, depending on your team, if you have a BA, you need to work with a BA to put on a slide, right? Like a deck on the thing that you guys, the accomplishment for that sprint, right? You guys can put like a deck together on the things that you guys want to talk about in the sprint review, or the accomplishment that your team did in the past 2 weeks, and obviously the work that they're going to demo, like kind of like high level summary on what they're going to be demoing. So just make sure that you work with your BA if you have a BA. If you do not have a BA, you can always work with one of your developer, or your tech lead, or even with the product owner. Just confirm and make sure that, okay, these are all the things that we accomplished this sprint, and these are the things that the team are going to be demoing during the sprint review, okay, during the demo session. So put that together, so that way, and then once you put that together, obviously, whoever you're working with in putting that deck, just communicate and find out who's going to do the presentation. Is it going to be you, the Scrum Master, that's going to be presenting that deck? Or is it going to be the BA, or is it going to be the product owner, right? Because you don't want to get in a meeting and you're confused as in like, who's going to do this presentation? So it's important to have that conversation while you're preparing for your sprint review. Who's going to be presenting this deck during the meeting? Okay. Once you're done putting your slide, you guys have reviewed it. It's important that you can schedule like an internal demo with your team members, just with your internal team, just like your direct team, right? Your product owner, your developers, and obviously yourself. Just, you don't need to include stakeholders in this meeting. You can have an internal demo, kind of like to prepare for the demo with the stakeholders. So once you're done with your slide, just ask your team if they will want to do an internal demo, which I actually think is something that you should highly and encourage them to do, right? Let them do an internal demo just amongst themselves, amongst the team members, and to make sure that they're comfortable when they get to the bigger audience with the business. So just make sure that you talk to them if they're okay in doing an internal demo, just to kind of like prepare for the bigger demo. You guys can go over that slide, and then when it gets to the demo part, the developer or whoever is going to be demoing, if it's a QA, if it's a developer, then they're going to now, the site was going to be doing the demo. Then during the internal demo, they can do the actual demo just amongst themselves. And then, if something is wrong, they can obviously talk through it over in that meeting and make the fixes or whatever. If they have to make some changes, you can go ahead and do that. It's really good. So by the time you go to your actual demo meeting itself, your team is really, really prepared to meet the business, right? To present things to the business. So talk to your team if they're okay in doing an internal demo, and educate them why you think it's important to have that internal demo before you guys go to the actual demo itself. And it shouldn't obviously take too long. Just have that conversation with your team and see if they're okay with it. And then obviously if your team do accept to do the internal demo, hey, go ahead and schedule that internal demo. Have them have that meeting, and then after that is done, you're ready to now go to have your actual sprint review meeting. So that's pretty much the things that you need to do before you actually have your sprint review meeting. If you do this, you're going to have a successful sprint review demo meeting. So just make sure that you have a good communication with your team and putting things together, and decide who's responsible in doing what when you get to the sprint review. So when you're in front of the business, you guys are not like, who's doing this, who's doing that, and stuff like that. So that's it. That's all I wanted to talk to you guys today. If you do have any other thing that you're struggling with, that you need my help with, don't hesitate to leave me a message. My email is below. I will do a video for you. If you need coaching, or just reach out to me as well. So thank you so much for your time, and I will see you guys soon.